About 3 years ago, I found myself in a deep depression that lasted many months. And at the beginning of that time, I had no motivation to get out of bed or to eat much or to do almost anything. When I did even little things, I felt exhausted and just wanted to climb back in bed. But gradually, things began to improve, and I started doing more things. And one thing I realized and noticed was that if I did something kind or helpful to someone else, I didn't feel that exhaustion afterwards, and I felt better. So when my neighbor asked me to take care of their chickens for a few days while they were away, I thought, this sounds great. And he asked me to stop by, and I went over, and we walked over to the chicken run where there were a bunch of chickens running around, and he pointed out one that wasn't running around very much, and he was concerned she wasn't feeling well. And she was a beautiful gold color, but she was very thin. Her feathers were kind of matted to her body, and she just looked run down and exhausted. And on my walk back to my house after that visit, I kept thinking about her, and I just wondered if perhaps she was feeling depressed too, because she looked the way I had felt many times. The next morning, I went over to feed the chickens, and I gathered some corn in a bucket and sprinkled it around in the chicken run, and chickens began to come out and have their breakfast. And then I went over to the chicken coop to gather up any eggs that were there. But when I opened the door to the chicken coop, I was completely shocked by what I saw, because there were 2 dead chickens lying there. One was a large white and black speckled chicken, and the other, right behind it, was the gold chicken that I had met the night before. And I thought for a moment that perhaps they were just sleeping, so I started knocking on the wood around them, and I was calling out, good morning, okay, it's time to get up. And nothing at all. So I got in touch with my neighbor, and he asked me if I would get a plastic bag and put them in it, and then put that in a bin by the garage, and he would take care of it in a few days when he got home. So I walked back to my house and got a large plastic bag and went back to the chicken coop. But when I opened the door, I was even more shocked than I was the first time. Not because there were 2 dead chickens, but because there was only one. The white and black chicken was still lying there, and that was it. So I closed the door, and I ran to the chicken run, and there she was. The gold chicken was walking around with all of the others, and I mean, she was looking pretty good. I mean, considering I thought she was dead just 5 minutes ago, I think she was looking real good. So it was amazing, but I knew that I had to go back to take care of the others, so I went back to the chicken coop, and I gently placed the other chicken in the plastic bag, and as respectfully as I thought I could put a dead chicken in a plastic bag, I wrapped it and put it in the bin by the garage, and then started walking back to my house. And on my way back, I just couldn't help but think about that gold chicken, and I wondered, what was she doing, lying there in the dark while another chicken was dying? And then I thought, I wonder if she understood that when you're not feeling well, if you can do something kind or helpful for someone else, it's not just the right thing to do. It might help you feel better too. Thank you. Thank you for listening.